To start this video, just as random though, just let me show you something I've been working on in my fights that works against pretty much any single player. This double edit move from below the box is something I was just randomly doing in a fight that I just stumbled upon trying to 1v1 this pro EU player. Give this move a go the next time you're in a build fight. Just act like you're ramping up and then double edit just like this and try to use the floor as a right hand peek. I have a ton of clips of this working on people and they were all shocked when I was doing it against them. What's crazy about this is that not only can you just do a normal double edit, but you can also set up a Martas peek from below as well. Anywho, my name is Ken. I'm trying to get to a pro level on the game, and any upcoming pro on Fortnite needs a pro level warm-up routine. You might be wondering, Ken, how can you possibly give every single one of your viewers a warm-up routine that's different for everyone since we're all at different skill levels in the game? Well, when your brain is as massive as my 9-inch forehead, you have time to think of solutions to these problems. Today I'm walking you through, with timestamps of course, exactly how I use Raider's new mechanic map version 3 and tailor it specifically to what I'm struggling at in the game. Now I know this video is a long shot because chances are you might get bored midway through. That's why I'm going to try my best to explain every aspect of why I go through the drill the way I do as quickly as possible. So not just showing you how I do it, but explain how it's useful in a fight. Then I'm going to tell you to use code KenBeans in the shop because it sports the hell out of me and it would be greatly appreciated. So when you walk into the map, code's right here and below the vid if you want to follow along. I think the thing that could be confusing for players is not knowing how to approach each drill. When you go into these maps, you watch Raider do it in his YouTube video, but he doesn't go through every specific drill, so you don't exactly know the most optimal way to set it up and all this stuff. I'm not covering quite literally everything, but I'm going to cover the things that I like to do. I go over here and I go into the build replace section. I don't use the targets too much. Doesn't mean they're not good, I just don't use them. All these different drills have different variations of them. You can set them up however you like as long as you think it's optimal. Don't be annoyed that you don't know what you're doing. That's a little tip that I thought about. So in fast motion, you're seeing how I'm running up to this. I double edit and then notice how I smack the top left of this wall. This is the spot on the wall that I smack every single time to be the most consistent, and you want to be as close to the top as possible. That's kind of what I noticed. Then I start edit coursing through and I set up the stair to give myself a right hand peek when I take this wall. That's good practice. I shoot it because I don't want to use my pickaxe in this situation. Always practice that. When you get to this part with the wall above you, what I do is take the wall and edit it as I'm jumping into the whole thing and placing cones. Pro players across the board, they always jump into their wall edits and go for cone piece control all the time. Just get used to dragging them over at the end and boom, that's the end of the first drill. Reason why I like drill number 1, it helps you understand in stack games how to take walls from above and find the perfect placement to smack your pickaxe. Secondly, in games, you'll notice in this clip, still drill number 1, what I did was turbo build the stair and then the wall and edit through. You can really body someone and put them in your montage like this. Build replace number 2. This is the correct way to do it, and now I'm going to show you what I do randomly sometimes. The wall in front, I break and try and place the wall on the other side. That helps you trap people in boxes and keep the pressure up. You see how I'm jumping up, I smack the wall with my pickaxe, claim it back, and then I place the floor, and then I'll look to the other side and try and place the wall again. Learn how to get this master down and your pressure is going to be insane whenever you do a side jump. Normal edit courses, but notice how I set up the stair to give myself a right hand peek whenever I take a wall. It's the safest way if you spread. Then you're doing the same exact thing, but this time it's from the opposite side and you finish through at the end of the course. Reasons why I like this drill, you can see I'm going to show you how many times I mess up getting this floor underneath me, and that's definitely something I need to work on, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching this do too. Also, what I do sometimes is I set up a box and I spray and try and take the wall from above just like this again. Just more practice of this move. Drill 3, some people may not like the way I do this, but I find this is what I need to practice at when I'm running through this course. If I were to be in this situation, I think what would be the hardest way for me to try to approach this, and let me rep this out. So starting out, what I'm going to do is throw cones on both sides and place a wall and edit it and try and take it from the other side. This is the safest way to try to take a box, and this is usually what most pro players actually do. Now it's time for the same thing but on the other side, and you'll notice if you're too far away, you're just going to break the wall, and I need to practice that. There's always a perfect distance for everything in this game. When I get to the ones that are above me, I set up a stair and a floor and then try and do a Martas classic, but take the wall and edit it through the top. I use my shotgun to take the wall, and I would use this in a game almost all the time if I could. I know for a fact that that move works a ton. You usually see a lot of players using that in 1v1 specifically, or if you watch Jive play, he uses that move a lot too. There's a lot of different ways to set up this drill. You can edit course it in a completely different way. Notice how I'm setting it up to my weaknesses in it though, and I'm not just doing how it's supposed to be done. No offense to Raider, I skipped drill 4 in this because I don't use it. I'm not a fan of that one. So we're going to skip that one. We're going to drill 5. Now in Raider's video, he did it a different way than what I'm showing right now. I'm going to show the snippet that Raider added, and what he does is he shoots through the wall right here and then just places the piece control. I'm definitely going to practice this version too, but this is how I do it. The major difference with me trying to learn this, I know one of my weaknesses is trying to make this edit right here. So after I complete the side jump, I do cone and then a wall because I need to start practicing placing 2 instead of 1, especially on low ping. And when I set this whole thing up, I crouch because it gives me a better angle to try and grab the edit, and I look in in this same spot every time. In scrims and end games, you need to know how to make edits from really far away in any situation possible. The more you know, the better. Drill 5 is the W because it's going to force me to learn how to place 2 builds instead of 1 whenever I'm wall replacing, and that's super awkward edit. This is drill 6. I run up to this wall, take it, but the main goal, sometimes this happens in game all the time, I go for the drop down play and I claim the wall as I'm falling down. And when I get to the next situation with the wall, what I do is don't place 1 to my left because I'm going to be running that way anyway, and I just rep this out over and over and over. Now here's the initial way I started doing this. Sometimes I'll probably switch it up too. You'll notice I ignore the first edit, and it's important to know how you can drag the cones out underneath, just like I'm doing right here. I'm really focusing on having consistent edits though, just not messing up. Obviously I do mess up, but the goal is to not. In this drill, the main thing to focus on is getting the cone underneath the box in certain situations and then just placing the wall in other situations. It's good to practice both because depending on how much time you have when an enemy's dropping, you can't necessarily get all the builds. This next part is what I do. I literally do it in this order, is the AI free build bot, whatever thing. Don't forget, if you want to be time efficient, turn on the timer. It's at the top of the map when you spawn in, just shoot it and you're good to go. Now, if you want to be a really good pro player, I mean, if you're on high ping, it could be a little different. You probably have to do it slower. When I get into this, I'm hard focusing on trying to literally edit course my hand off. The goal is to have crazy edits leading up to boxing one of those bots. And then you want to set up an optimal right hand peek and aim for the head every time. Never hit body shots in this map, especially because of how body they are. They literally don't move. Always aim for the head. What I do whenever I'm trying to do any sort of edit course in this though, I'm not just trying to edit course on a flat plane all the time. I'm trying to go up, down, left, right. Act like you're blocked off in certain ways because an enemy is placing builds or something. Just imagine like the worst case scenario. I actually grind this mode probably the most because I think it's the best practice for me, because I think that in this point in the game, I really struggle with having consistent edit courses and just getting those good clips. Pros every now and then, they just have flawless edit coursing clips. I can never get any of those. I'm working towards it and I'm building that muscle memory up to be consistent. I just kind of spam. I run out of mouse pad space. A lot of excuses that you don't need to know about, but I really like this mode because it's probably my biggest weakness, just being consistent with edits whenever I'm trying to go for a really clean clip. Lots of people think that you don't need to know how to edit course to be really good at this game, but learning how to edit course and being consistent without being too overly flashy, you can really get a good solid crack on a player because you'll have all the pieces claimed before they even know it. So don't think that you'll never need to know how to do this. I promise you, it only helps. So here we go with the Boxfight Training. I don't use any of the 1v2s to 1v5s. I always keep the bot health 1 pumpable, so it's the left one. High, low ground, or the flat 3x3. Do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Switch it up. Raider said in his video that there was 30 different possibilities of different ways to piece control these bots, so I can't show all these. The reason why I don't use the bottom set but the 1v5s and all that, personally, I like it when I'm pressured by actual good players. Although it's a good idea with the bots, when you go to make an edit on a really good player, they kind of have counters to what you do. If you're a super beginner level, then I would probably use this. But I am the biggest fan of the top portion. It really challenges you to find the most optimal right hand peaks. Now at times I think it overshoots you a little too much, but the way it's coded, I'm sure that it was impossible even to get it the way it was. So I definitely don't blame Raider for that. I'm just saying that I think a lot of people will get frustrated when they do this. They think to themselves, how am I exposing myself when you're not? Don't overthink about it like that. Just go into the next one. It's not that big a deal. I like to rep this out as much as I can, just edit course in anything, but really focus on the peak at hand. And if you don't know too many peaks, I'd recommend to watch MPen on his streams. It's a little shout out for him. I made a video on him before. He has super optimal right hand peaks. Another player that pops in my mind is Booga. They also share that same thing with how good they are at setting up the best right hand peak. But I'm sure by now I showed enough in this video in and of itself. So the next portion is this edit tower. Now you don't need to use this edit tower, but I use it every now and then whenever I feel like I'm not having a good enough time with my edits. Like the relationship between me and my edits, if I'm constantly messing up on stuff, I'll go into the edit tower real quick, doing it for like 2 minutes. I practice having no blue whenever I touch an edit. I also practice swiping from more than one tile, so having 2 tiles, 1 tile. Really rep this out and get your fingers working, and I promise you that it will be a strain. Quick tip for this is to start out with just doing 1 or 2 in a row, taking a break, 1 or 2 in a row, taking a break. Eventually I build up that muscle memory so hard that now I try to rep out as many as I possibly can without messing up. It's super hard to know how to go all the way through, but whenever your editing is feeling really sloppy, just go in there and practice the timing again. I do that a lot. So going to the free build section, this is my favorite part. If you go kind of over to this side portion over here, Raider set up this weak box with a bot in the middle that respawns in different spots. So like I talked about in beginner one of the drills, what I do is I try to take 2 pieces at once. Most players don't really do this. I definitely recommend it. And I try to practice doing just random different stuff like you're watching right now. I try to attack it from the top. I'll try to place cones over. Another really good move that I started to do, and I need to do more in real games that I'm practicing in here. I double edit down with a cone. I smack it once, edit the cone, leave the box, and then I can try and take it from outside the box. I promise you, so many people set up box fights like this. I've seen it work firsthand. I use it firsthand, but I don't practice it as much as I should, and I don't use it as much as I should. I'm definitely going to be doing this more. See how I'm tailoring the box fighting situation to what I'm weak at in the game? I find moves that I know that I don't do so much from other players, and I try to put it into my own game by doing it in my routine. The next part, I do this free build section, like right where it normally spawns you in. I don't use any of the slow speeds unless I'm really practicing a hard retake, but the faster speeds can be really good, and sometimes I randomly rep out trying to do as many double edits, triple edits, edit course as much as possible. You don't want to do the most random stuff in here though. I practice my tunneling, learning all different types of tunnels. You can look up a video, find all these tunnels on YouTube. I've even made 11 pro tunnels that everyone needs to learn. I can leave that down below in the description. Practice new ways of high ground retakes. Jivin and I have always made videos like this. Jivin posted one recently. This is really where I hone in on my build fighting. I learn the retakes in here. I rep them out slowly but surely. I don't have to learn and master them in a week. I'm doing little by little, attacking it each time I get on. That's how I'm really gonna get good and not get frustrated. Now, I didn't talk about the edit crosshair training. Throw on whatever style edit you want to do. It literally doesn't matter. I would definitely say to try and keep on more than 3. Pro players, bots, just really rep this out, and it will teach you really how to be comfortable in awkward situations in Fortnite. These weird edits just like this, Raider literally designed it like a Kovacs map. You want to know how you know when you shouldn't really be practicing this so much anymore? When you can do them consistently more than like 5 times in a row. That means I wouldn't work on this area as much. After I do all that stuff, right, I walk over. You could do the 1v1 box fights, the build fights. The free-for-all map is okay, but most of the time I do the build fights and the box fights. You're gonna feel like a demon after you repped all this out. Now here's the thing though, I went into these build fights, and I've been going into this build fight map for a minute now. Lots of players that you get matched up with, they're not that great, right? They're like decent, they know how to build, but sometimes they just overbuild, they don't shoot you, they don't know how to like play a 1v1. I'm gonna show you how I go about playing in these 1v1. The reason why I like 1v1ing people is because it teaches you something new like every single time you go up for another fight. I practice working on different things in my head literally every time. Let me show you. I queue up into the map, and I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't matter what guns they have or what guns you have. You could still poop on them. The only thing that's annoying is when they take a combat SMG and spray you. I just repped out for hours trying to find the best right-hand peek so I can't get shot. Even against this bot player who's letting me piece him, notice how I'm setting up peeks to where he won't be able to shoot me. Running in, quickly shooting, placing walls, holding the edit till I reach the side where I won't get shot, then I confirm it. As you play these 1v1s and as I'm playing these, I'm trying to literally edit course the crap out of these people if I know that their skill level is way below mine. Call me a sweat, hate on me all you want. It's really good practice to really know how to just edit course in these 1v1s. You don't get better by not forcing yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with. Now, chances are when you beat them so bad, they're probably gonna leave. Whenever they leave, usually what I do is I just practice doing the retakes and the building and the edit coursing. I'm hyper focusing on being super consistent. So that means if I gotta go slower, I'll go slower. This clip, I mean, these guys aren't the greatest, right? But this clip is literally fresh out of the map. High ground retakes to the moon, sweating super hard, high walls, protective high ground retakes, extending the cones around corners of builds and stuff. Probably could have done a more optimal edit here, but I set it up super nice, and this is the stuff I want to see in my gameplay. Now this clip right here, I'm edit coursing, going crazy again. What's going through my mind the second I get this cone above him, I edit through. I'm practicing doing this right here where I reset the wall and then I make a new edit without actually resetting the whole thing. See how I'm slow at it? Because I'm trying to do consistency. So I continue keeping up the pressure like crazy on this guy. When I hit him with the Mongrel Classic, notice how I'm not rushing into the box. I'm trying to make it so he has the hardest time to see me. So I open up a wide edit, duck behind the cone, give myself a chance to reload. And that's the stuff that I'm practicing, even against players who aren't that great. And if I do verse a good player, I'm still going to try and clip them, go crazy, but I just have to be a little bit more careful when doing high ground retakes. That's all. The secret is to not grind this until you're so bored of Fortnite every single day. I would say the minimum be 20 minutes and the max be 2 hours. When it comes to this pro routine, really study what you do wrong when you play arena and when you play other modes. As you play, as you practice, as the months go on, you're going to keep changing it up, and that's what's going to help you get way better faster than normal. Drop a like. Hope this was helpful. See you in the next video. Peace.